Hi friends, Becky here, coming at you with recipe number 4 from my 2019 recipe project. If this is the first recipe that you're watching, what I'm doing for this project or passion project of mine is I'm just cooking through my family's cookbook. So some of these recipes are from past generations, some of them are recipes I grew up with, some of them are recipes from my father's restaurant and bakery. They're all my favorite indulgent recipes that don't necessarily fit into a regular routine for my new fitness coaching lifestyle. So what I decided to do, since I know a lot of people really struggle with nutrition, is take each recipe and make small tweaks to it so that they can become a more regular part of your weekly routine, so that you don't have to feel like you're cheating on your diet or backtracking in your health goals. So I'm really excited about today's recipe because it fits in seamlessly with what I teach people about meal prepping, which is to kind of meal prep in bulk when you can, repeat meals when you can to keep your grocery bill low and your schedule kind of easy to manage and on track. So I'm making a breakfast casserole that Matt and I will eat every day for breakfast for the upcoming week. Cook it once, eat all week, good to go. The original recipe, not super healthy, uses a ton of white bread, a lot of cheese, some whole milk, stuff that is okay in moderation, but I'm gonna be eating this every day this week, so I'm gonna make tweaks to make this just a touch healthier. Speaking of healthier, that's the reminder I wanna send you. These tweaks that I'm making are to make the recipes healthier. That doesn't mean that they're the healthiest option that you could choose. It doesn't mean that they're 100% clean or perfect. I'm just trying to show you that eating well and living a healthy lifestyle doesn't have to feel so restrictive, and it doesn't have to be so black and white. So this is a healthier version of one of my favorite indulgent breakfasts. This recipe actually came from a really close family friend of ours who used to make it for us on a family vacation we took every year to Lake George. It fed the masses and got everybody kind of up and moving for the day. It's super easy to make, even with the tweaks I'm going to show you, and it's something that's really good reheated. A lot of people are weird about reheating eggs, and I'm with you, but when they're baked the way that we're going to bake them, it's a totally different story. So the original recipe calls for 5 slices of thick white bread. You're going to use a pound of crumbled sausage, 3 cups of cheddar cheese, only 4 eggs, 2 cups of whole milk, dried mustard, salt, and hot sauce. I'm gonna make quite a few tweaks to this one to up the protein, up the veggies, or add some veggies, and decrease some of that fat, but not all of the fat, because we're not trying to stay away from anything completely. We're just trying to keep everything really well balanced and in moderation. So here's what I'm doing. I'm replacing the bread with sweet potatoes. This is a healthier carb, still a starchy carb, but it's gonna fuel your body in a way better way than white bread will. Plus, the healthier the carb source, the more satisfied you feel and the fuller you feel for longer. Sorry, I stuttered over that one. For me, this is serving 2 people, so this is 10 servings of carbohydrates in potatoes alone. So since it's serving 2 people per day for 5 days this week, I've got 10 servings of carbs here. The way that I work with my clients, we portion them out in these little containers. It's just an easy system that I teach them. But if you don't have those or we're not yet working together, a half a cup of a carbohydrate is equivalent to 1 serving. So this is 5 full cups of sweet potatoes. I just peeled them, chopped them, put a little olive oil, salt, and pepper, and I'm gonna go ahead, I already have the oven preheated, place these in the oven until they're almost fully cooked. Next, the original recipe only called for 4 eggs. Whoops. I'm gonna up it to 10 because a full serving of eggs to get like a decent protein serving is 2 eggs per person. So 2 eggs per person for 5 days is 10 eggs. So we'll have 2 left over. I'm gonna use 10 of these. I'm gonna decrease the cheese count. I'm using this Mexican style cheese blend because I'm also cooking another recipe with this cheese after. And instead of, what does it say? 3 cups, I'm gonna use 1.5 cups. So I'm gonna cut that directly in half so that we don't have a ton of fat coming from cheese, especially because I like to add avocado on top of this, and that's another serving of healthy fat. I'm replacing the milk with almond milk. It's unsweetened, it's not flavored, so it's not going to add like a weird sweet flavor to your eggs. Totally fine to replace with. Hot sauce, I'm using this vegan creamy roasted jalapeno hot sauce. It's just my favorite right now. Kind of hard to go wrong with hot sauce. I'm replacing the sausage with chicken sausage, pretty standard. And then I'm adding some veggies. So I'm gonna chop up these bell peppers, some jalapenos, and just add a little bit of greens to this recipe. So I'm waiting for the potatoes to roast. Like I said, they're gonna be almost fully cooked. I don't want them to quite get there because it's gonna go back in the oven in the casserole dish. I'm using this large baking dish. So probably about 20 minutes or so. It'll cook relatively quickly. Eggs cook really quickly in the oven once I add everything to it, and the sausage is actually already pre-cooked, so I don't need to worry about that. But I'm just gonna cook the potatoes for about 20-25 minutes, and then they're gonna go on the base of this casserole dish. So I just greased it with some olive oil. You could use coconut oil. Me personally, I prefer olive oil with an egg recipe, just because I taste coconut oil, so I like to use that in more sweet recipes or kind of Asian inspired recipes where those flavors really mesh together well, but personal preference of mine is to not use it with eggs. While I'm waiting for those to cook, I'm just going to slice up some of these peppers. I'm not gonna cook them ahead of time because I want them to keep the crunch in the casserole. I'm gonna slice up the jalapenos, just gonna dice up this sausage, and then I'm going to whip 10 eggs together in a bowl so that they're all scrambled with the mustard, salt, and pepper. So pretty easy here. Oh, and the milk will go in the eggs as well. I'll show you everything as it's coming together. All right, potatoes are almost finished. So what I have here, hopefully you can see, nope, looks like that was empty. It's not. 10 eggs cracked in the bowl. I'm gonna put this back down. I really need like a more professional setup in here. Okay, 10 eggs. I chopped up it was 1.5 red bell peppers and 1 green pepper. That's just kind of what I had in my fridge. You could do 1 pepper, 2 peppers, it doesn't really matter. And then I ended up just doing 1 jalapeno. We do like things spicy, but the volume started to look a little bit big and I want everything to fit in the pan, so I cut out jalapeno. Not that that makes a ton of difference, but I added that into the eggs. I sliced up the sausage links, adding that into the eggs. I ended up doing just 1 cup of cheese. I had said 1.5 originally, but I cut it down even less because I promise you it's still going to taste really indulgent and delicious because this milk is gonna make it taste extra creamy. So 2 cups of almond milk, unsweetened and plain. The hot sauce, I'm just going to go based on preference here, / there's not a whole lot left in this bottle. So I went ahead and emptied it. I think the recipe calls for a teaspoon. I definitely did more than that. I love hot sauce. And then a teaspoon each of the seasonings. So the ground mustard, salt, and pepper. And then I'm just going to mix everything together. I'm using a whisk just to break through those egg yolks and get everything really mixed well together. Quick notes. So obviously the original recipe didn't call for any vegetables. I added the greens because for me, and what I try to teach people too, is anytime you can sneak in vegetables to a dish, do it. This is gonna add just a little bit more depth to this dish anyway, so it's not gonna hurt it. Plus you're getting an extra serving of greens, which is never a bad thing. You can also make this without cheese. It would be really good without the cheese as well. I love my eggs with cheese. Matt usually doesn't put cheese in his eggs, so I figured I'd compromise and do a little bit. 1 cup spread out over 10 servings is really not gonna do a whole lot in terms of nutritional value, so I'm all about it. All right, these are mixed together. So I literally just whisked everything but the potatoes together in a bowl. I'm gonna put the potatoes down in that pan first, and then this will all go over that. Switching up the camera angle awkwardly, because I want you to see this pan. So I've got the potatoes on the bottom, grabbing my bowl, and pouring it evenly over the top. Okay, so I'm just spreading this out a little bit because it kind of grouped together. What I do want to say is the original recipe wants you to have this soak overnight in the fridge and then bake it in the morning for about an hour. Because I tweaked this so much, let's be a little bit more normal here. Because I tweaked this so much and it doesn't have the bread to soak into and like really soften the way that that would happen in the fridge, I'm just gonna bake it the same day. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. I have the oven set to 350 and keep you posted on how long, how long it baked for. I'm gonna come back and check on it in about 30 minutes. Okay, so adjustment. It was in the oven for about 45-50 minutes. So I would recommend cooking the potatoes a little bit less than I did because mine are just slightly overcooked. I can tell they're gonna be a little bit soft, but everything else looks so good. Check this out. This will be cut into 10 equal servings, and we are ready to eat for the week, for breakfast. If you're interested in meal prepping this for yourself or for your family, once you take it out of the oven, just let it cool, and then you can go ahead and slice it and pre-package it, or you can just cover this whole pan once it's cooled, put it in the refrigerator, and then cut it and heat it up each morning. So either way, totally up to you, but I am super excited about this recipe. For those of you who are clients of mine and you're working with Portion Fix, I made 10 servings with the recipe in this video. So if you were to break it down, each serving would be 1.5 red, half a green, half a blue, and 1 yellow because of the potatoes. So if you're not yet working with me and that was kind of gibberish to you, you can reach out to me, just comment on this video, and we can start a conversation about your own health and fitness and nutrition needs, or you can send me an email at coachbeckymckinney@gmail.com.